Choosing between wooden and bone turkey calls. William Hovey Smith, 2022.
This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. And today we're going to talk about turkey calls. Turkey calls are available in profusion, as you can see, many different types, a few of which I've got here. Several examples: historic calls, boat paddle calls, box calls, pot calls, mouth calls, and so on and so on. And what the business is about calls is that turkeys make a variety of sounds. And just about all commercial calls, some turkeys will respond to sometimes. However, there was and is no call for which turkeys will respond to all the time. That just doesn't exist. So what your method is, if you own a variety of these, like I do, is you try to match the calls to your particular hens. Once upon a time, I had, living for at least 4 years, a boss hen, and she had a very distinctive call. And I ultimately found an old Ben Lee call that, if I applied enough pressure to, would mimic her very raspy tones. So that's an example of why you might own a variety of calls. Some people just collect calls as objects of art and for utility and show different types and mechanisms, and there is a profusion of them if you desire to do that. One of the oldest types is a simple cedar box, and this, you use a striker, which is a sharpening stone, and if you hit it in exactly the right spot, and if you chalk it correctly, it will make a sound much like a turkey, okay? Another primitive call is this slate call that I made. Now this is a box turtle shell, and this turtle died of natural causes. I would never kill a box turtle and make a turkey call out of it. And this is a piece of roofing slate that I picked up from the roof of an old Civil War fort that had collapsed, well, more than a century ago. But sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Yes, it does. So, yeah, many pioneers did something very much like this, and some guys still do. Again, among older calls are the wing bone calls like this. Now this makes a quite different sound. Okay? Sometimes turkeys will respond to that, and none other. It just works out that way. Now Lynch started out trying to make a squirrel call. This one. As it turns out, he made a better turkey call than he did a squirrel call. And this one I bought in 1958, the year I graduated from high school. Naturally, it has a wide range of sounds, and it's also quite loud. So you can really reach out and touch the world with this one. Now this is a call, as I say, made by the late Ben Lee. And I put so much pressure on it, I actually cracked it here and repaired it. And that's one thing you can do with your wooden box calls. If they split, use super glue on them and repair them. Okay, again, quite different sound, but turkeys make different sounds. Every once in a while, a turkey hunter's been out in the woods and he's hearing this god-awful turkey calling. That guy doesn't know beans about calling turkeys. He's just terrible. And it turns out that's a real hen. So they don't all the time make textbook noises. Good, solid clicks with this. And this is a boat paddle design. When I try to make the same clicks with this, it doesn't come out the same. Very much lower in tone. Okay. Now, okay. Used to be that these calls of this type, all made out of wood, if they got wet, you were done for the day, guys. Even so, you should bring these calls in dry every night and let them stay dry. They always work better. But this will work even in wet weather. And it doesn't need chalk. Now that sounds sweet. Now that's a seductive come here call in turkey language. All right, yet another one. Whoa, sounds good. Sounds more like a pileated woodpecker than a turkey, but yeah, okay. Most calls of this type strike on both sides. This one strikes on only one side. Sounds different. This must be a turkey from a foreign country. All right. And we have yet one more. Higher pitched. Now higher pitched calls supposedly travel longer distances. So if you're calling from mountaintop to mountaintop, yeah, something like this is what you need. So that is this family of calls.
I'm an author, mainly of outdoor books, but I do have an interesting new novel, Until Death Do You Part, and my latest business book is Make Your Own Job Anytime, Anywhere, at Any Age, which has received excellent reviews from both Kirkus and the U.S. Review of Books. I have a Kickstarter project that ends on April 29 for the publication and distribution of a hardcover edition of my book to schools, libraries, and aid organizations in North America and non-conflict areas of Europe. To contribute, go to the address below.
And now we'll talk about another one altogether. Now we've covered this one before, made out of natural materials. Now this is a synthetic one. And you notice the mouthpiece here is far enough away from the lips to give you the right purchase, so you get the right tone when you suck on it. In this call, instead of blowing on it, you suck. Sounds a little louder because it has a little larger bell on it. The next set of calls is unusual, and you actually operate them in pairs. This is the fighting purr sound, and what it is to simulate is two tom turkeys fighting, and other toms will come to watch the fray and see who wins. And if you have a partner with you while you are doing this, he's in there beating the leaves and making more noise. Does it work? Occasionally. Of exactly the same type, this call and the last one here of this variety operates with a single hand, and that's advantageous because you can operate with your left hand while your right hand is actually aiming the gun. And hopefully your finger isn't twitching along with the call. You don't want to shoot a forehand. And made out of synthetic materials, this night and hail does very much the same thing. And it also has a knob on it so you can actually adjust the tone. So if you don't think you have the skill to work one of these calls or one of these calls, yeah, you can go in the woods with only this one and work. Now, there are other types of calls used in turkey hunting that are not turkey calls. These are a whole variety of locator calls, and I've used goose calls, and I've used duck calls, and I've used coyote calls, and pileated woodpecker calls, and owl calls. And that's another category all themselves. And this is for crows. And they will gobble to crows on occasion. And I have enough natural crows around that, yeah, if they get excited, yeah, they will gobble to them. This last quartet here is a variety of pot calls, so-called. And they have slate, they have glass, they may have metal, they may have both. And these are used with some sort of striker, either synthetic material or wood. And each call, yeah, works best usually with one particular striker. All this is in the eyes of the beholder. And this is something like fishing lures. Fishing lures are designed to sell to the fisherman, not the fish. But all of these, be they pretty looking, be they ugly looking, will work on some turkeys sometimes. So go out there and get your calls, play with a variety of them if you like, learn to get the best combination that you can for your particular turkeys, and go out there and get them. And we're going to actually have a call maker come in. And this is Tyler James of Haywood Calls. And he'll come in tomorrow and he'll actually demonstrate his pot calls and also his mouth calls, which I don't use much and, well, almost never. But he does. So you'll get to hear those too. But now this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
My videos with Tyler James are up and include his demonstration of several pot calls and his mouth calls, along with his accepting my muzzleloading challenge to include hunting with young blunderbuss. For more information, my books, blogs, and more than 800 videos, go to my website. To discover about my business books, go to createyourownjobsecurity.com. To find out how my novel, screenplay, and movie project is coming along, go to bloodties.net. To help fund my Kickstarter project, go to the address below. Hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Goodbye and God bless.